Joining us live from Istanbul is Richard Javad Heydarian.
Well, joining us live now is Richard Javad Heydarian.
Of more on this, I'm joined from Canberra by Richard Heydarian.
Get more now from Philippines analyst Richard Heydarian.
Welcome to The Floor. Ito yung podcast kung saan pag-usapan natin yung mga pinakamainit na issues sa ating bansa concerning our national security, our prosperity, our democracy, and of course, domestic politics. Today, may kasama tayong guest, special guest. Anong pangalan niyo ulit, sir? Welcome to our little show, Senator. Last part, papahamak na naman kita, Senator.
Sige.
Our favorite topic, aside from your favorite political dynasty, opposition. Malapit na election. Sobrang lapit na. And actually, soon I'll be talking to one of the senatoriables and former senator from genuine opposition. Hindi ito yung opposition dahil lang nabigyan ng position or nawalan ng position. We had a very intense conversation last time about this. What is your understanding of the latest state of affairs? Kasi I think both of us have been talking about Team Philippines, Grand Coalition, essentially splitting the difference. You can disagree with the administration. I mean, you and I, we didn't vote for Marcos. I think everyone knows that. We were very critical of him. We still criticize him. I still criticize on a lot of domestic issues. But nevertheless, I think there are more never Duterte than never Marcos out there.
Yeah.
So what is your message to the never Marcos people? You call them purists, whatever. Are they even relevant? Do they still have blatant power? Or do you think there's a naivety that hayaan mo lang yung dalawa na yan na parang Godzilla versus King Kong and then we'll come out of... What's going on there?
I think it's just their pride speaking, and in the case of former Vice President Leni Robredo, I think ginawa niyang ideology yung anti-Marcos and kaya nawawala yung objectivity to nuance Marcos Sr. and Marcos Jr. Are they the same types of president? If you hated the guts of Marcos Sr., for example, is the son doing the same thing enough for you to hate him just as much? So, hindi nila manuance yun. Kasi they need to hold on to that never Marcos ideology.
Yeah.
Kasi mawawala sila, maliligaw sila eh. Mawawala yung sense of purpose. But I believe lumiliit yung kanilang ranks, kasi at the end of the day, if we really believe in a democracy, and if they really believe in a democracy, na ito yung ina-espouse nila President Cory Aquino and Pinoy, then our democracy produced President Marcos Jr. and with the highest number of votes at that. So parang you have to accept that at some point. Hindi naman pwedeng sabihin, mali kayo lahat. Or ayaw namin nung pinili nyo. Kahit sabihin mong hindi ka nag-agree na tama yung pinili nila, but you have to respect
but
that.
But you're not calling for supporting Marcos, right? You're talking about some very minimal, tactical, liminal, not even alliance, some sort of interface during elections. Kasi I remember your argument is that you're looking at a 5 to 10% bump, and that could make all the difference for rank 8 to 12, right? Yung 1 to 5, medyo malayo na sila 30-40%. But yung the rest, parang ang baba lahat So it's very competitive. 5% could make all the difference, right?
So kaya nga, ang ginagawa ko na lang is, hindi ko na lang ina-address yung mga purists. I don't bother to talk to them anymore kasi nga, mawawala sila. You cannot convince them. But the mainstream pinks, ang daming open-minded. They're all for it.
But what are you exactly pushing for, Sonny? In a sense that, like, opposition, like, will share the same stage as, like, bagong lipunan people? No. Obviously, that's unacceptable, right? I think that will alienate a lot of you.
Simple lang. Si Leni Robredo, during 2022, sinama si Binay, against our protest, Gordon, and the others. Did they go up to the stage with us? Except siguro kay Gordon, but the others did not at all. And yet they benefited from the campaign machinery of the Robredo campaign, at least during the first half. Same with that's going to be the same situation. Hindi mo naman kailangan umakyat doon at
It's not a full endorsement of the administration's
depende
position.
sa comfort level nyo. Kaya nga itong dito is, ano ba yung national interest? Dapat hindi tayo nagkakamali doon. Is it in the interest of our country na makapasok itong mga Duterte candidates? O makabalik.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Kung yung purist tatanungin mo, hindi, they will come up with an answer like, hindi, we'll just watch them kill each other, parang ganon. And they actually think that is cute, no? Well, it's not. Kasi we're talking about the same country here, same democracy. So existential yung issue. Where are you in this fight? Yung pride nila is stopping them from objectively saying na Duterte is yung kalaban more than the Marcoses. Kaya nga sabi ko, hopeless na yan. So yan yung grupo na yan. And magiging problema rin yan nung mainstream 2028.
Mahabang usapan na. I'm sure we can continue that conversation. Just last point, Senator. So if you look at the Octo survey, they did something very interesting. At least two versions I've seen, which is kampo-kampo. Sinong kakamping, sinong solid north, solid south. We see so yung approval ni Sara is still majority and all. Approval ni BBM is also slightly majority. But if you look at it, interestingly, yung support ng solid base ng mga Dutertes nag-shrink from around 20-21% down to 16%. And that 16% is like, what? Half of that is just Mindanao, right? So it's very regional, very concentrated. While yung admin actually nag-expand to around 36-35%. So with margin of error, almost 40%. Nevertheless, there's around 30% out there who are still, parang ayaw nila, hindi namin alam sa dalawang yan, pero ayaw rin namin dun sa opposition, parang yung liberalismo, yung mga ganun. How do you think you can bring these people to be part of a Team Philippines project? Let's not, for a moment, let's park all the families and all. Like, a Team Philippines project, rebuild our democracy, yung mga institutions na nasira. This show is called The Floor. Yung mga minimum self-respect sa West Philippine Sea, self-respect sa respeto sa ating mga democratic institutions, sa opisina, ng gobyerno, ng presidente. How do you think we can inspire those people to come back?
In relation to 2028?
Into 2020 or even siguro 2025. I don't think it's too late, right? Because you still have, 9 months before the next elections, right?
Here's the thing. Having gone around and at least have spoken to all of these segments of society, yung 35% that you're referring to, that's the apolitical side.
Yun nga.
Hindi sila, they just busy living life, enjoying life, providing for their families. So, ganun lang yan sila. No? Ngayon, ang magdadrive sa kanila later on is yung bandwagon created by these factions. Kung gaano ka-effective yon, doon sila sasakay. And that's the reality of it. Kaya nga, ang kon dito is yung 5% na purist, di ba? If they insist on their ways, further madidiminish pa yan. Further until
like 3-4% lang yata
maging
yung
irrelevant
liberals,
na which is good. Good for Risa Hontiveros, for example, na hindi siya masusulsulan niya mga yan. They may be loud or noisy, pero you can disregard them. Kasi hindi mo makukuha yung by constantly insulting the Marcoses or insulting, kumbaga, if you keep
or
on
those
doing
who vote.
that, because that's democracy, binoto nila di ba? Ako, kahit nung grabing bakbakan namin against the Duterte administration, not once did they insult those who voted for him, because it's not their fault that they were deceived by somebody like Duterte, who is a master of deception.
Politics.
So, kumbaga, ikaw yung nabudol
So, biktima ka.
Biktima ka. So, kaya
so, victim blaming sa'yo yan if you
yes,
attack
kaya nga
yung
sasabi ko,
voters.
let's just do better in re-winning the hearts and minds of those na nawala sa atin. In which you cannot do if you have this simplistic never Marcos ideology.
on that very positive, hearty note, parang hindi bagay sa atin, Senator. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Richard.
Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. I hope you appreciated that latest episode of The Floor. Pinag-usapan natin ang mga minimum na expect natin sa ating bansa, yung mga kailangan natin linisin, ayusin, and how to win back the hearts and minds of the Filipino people to build a nation regardless of dynastic wars or factionalism. Maraming salamat and looking forward to joining you guys with more interesting guests in the coming weeks and months.
Joining us live from Istanbul is Richard Javad Heydarian.
Well, joining us live now is Richard Javad Heydarian.
For more on this, I'm joined from Canberra by Richard Heydarian.
Get more now from Philippines analyst Richard Heydarian.